The woman's name is Mariela Cruz. Mariela is 17 years old when this story begins, and she's living in Monterrey, Mexico. She comes from a powerful drug trafficking family, so she grows up surrounded by drugs, money, guns, and influence. But here's the thing, Mariela isn't interested in any of that. What she really wants is to become an investigative journalist, so she starts chasing that dream. She enrolls in a university and begins studying media and communications. Everything seems to be going in the right direction. Until around 1980, when she meets a guy named Diego. Mariela thinks Diego is bueno. Diego thinks Mariela is muy bueno. They start dating. A few years pass and Mariela is now in her third year of school. One day, she and Diego get into a massive argument, probably fueled by jealousy because Diego is extremely possessive. The fight escalates. Diego kidnaps her. He takes her to a remote location and holds her there for a while before eventually letting her go. Even after she's released, Mariela is terrified. Diego has connections to a local cartel, and if he kidnapped her once, there's nothing stopping him from doing it again. So she makes a hard decision. She leaves the university and returns to Monterrey, where her family's influence can protect her. But leaving school also kills her dream of becoming an investigative reporter. She doesn't want to just exist in the cartel world, she wants power. She works hard, learns fast, stays disciplined, and never uses the drugs herself, unlike many others in the organization. She rises through the ranks, and there's another factor working in her favor. A lot of powerful men find Mariela very attractive, especially high-ranking cartel figures. She knows this, and she uses it strategically. She forms relationships with influential traffickers. With those connections, Mariela's influence explodes. She meets a man known as El Leon, a top South American trafficker with deep ties to a cocaine-producing cartel. They start dating, then they start doing business. South American cartels control production. She becomes the bridge. She oversees massive cocaine shipments moving from South America through Mexico and into the US, operating across the Pacific routes. She does this for years. And she makes an insane amount of money. She buys luxury homes, builds a collection of high-end cars, Bentleys, Audis, Mercedes, and amasses hundreds of pieces of jewelry. Eventually, she owns nearly 300 pieces. She's officially one of the most powerful women in the drug trade. Then everything starts to fall apart. In 2001, one of her shipments, nearly 9 tons of cocaine, is intercepted by the Mexican Navy. Because the shipment was headed toward the US, American federal agencies get involved. They trace phone records. Those records lead directly to Mariela and Leon. From that point on, both Mexican and US authorities begin closely monitoring her. Then in 2002, things get worse. Members of a rival cartel kidnap her teenage son. They demand $5 million for his release. Mariela panics. Afraid her son could be killed even if she pays, she calls the police. When officers arrive and hear the ransom amount, they ask an obvious question. Who are you that someone would demand this much money? Mariela realizes she's made a mistake. She backs off, handles negotiations herself, and eventually pays $3 million to get her son back alive. But the police don't drop it. They run a background check and connect her to the seized shipment. She owns hundreds of real estate lots, multiple homes, and businesses worth far more than she could legally afford. Authorities conclude she's laundering money. An arrest warrant is issued. Mariela goes on the run. For 3 years, she disappears. It starts to look like she'll never be caught. Until 2007, she walks into a small roadside cafe for coffee and gets arrested on the spot. She's jailed in Mexico while awaiting trial. But she's not a normal inmate. Alcohol, cigarettes, even cosmetic treatments brought in by a private doctor. She stays locked up for 5 years. In 2012, Mexican authorities say they don't have enough evidence to convict her. Instead, she's extradited to the United States. When she finally gets out, she reinvents herself. She becomes an influencer. She starts posting lifestyle content on TikTok, luxury, motivation, beauty, and ends up gaining over 400,000 followers. From cartel boss to prison inmate to social media personality, wild,